The Vatican, parentheses, Roman Catholic Church equals Satan, in parentheses, helped finance the building of these massive Islam armies in exchange for three special favors. One, eliminate the Jewish, in parentheses, imposters, in parentheses, and Christians slash Messianics, in parentheses, true Hebrew, which they were called infidels, in parentheses. Number two, protect the Augustinian monks and Roman Catholics. Number three, conquer Jerusalem for his holiness, blasphemy, in parentheses, in the Vatican. The conquest of North Africa was underway. As time passed, the power of Islam became tremendous. Jewish imposters, in parentheses, and true Hebrew, in parentheses, Christians or Messianics, were slaughtered and Jerusalem fell into their hands. Interesting note, Roman Catholics were never attacked, nor were their shrines during this time. End note. It was time to pay off. The Pope asked for Jerusalem, but by now the Arab generals felt the exhilaration of victory everywhere they went. They felt nothing could stand in their way. In parentheses, the Vatican's plan began to backfire and then crumble before his eyes, in parentheses. As a result of this and Muhammad's vision, the faithful Muslims built a mosque, parentheses, Dome of the Rock, in parentheses, in Ishmael's honor, on the site of the Jewish temple that was destroyed in AD 70, making Jerusalem the second most holy place in the Islam faith. The Muslim generals were determined to conquer the world for Allah, so they now turned their eyes towards Europe. The Islamic ambassadors approached His Holiness and the Vatican and asked for papal bulls to give them permission to invade European countries. The Vatican, in parentheses, Satan, was outraged. War was inevitable. Temporal power and control of the world was considered the basic right of the Pope. Blasphemy. He wouldn't think of sharing it with what he considered or who he considered as heathens. The Pope raised up armies and called them crusades to hold back the children of Ishmael from grabbing Catholic Europe. The war continued for centuries, and Jerusalem slipped out of the Pope's grasp. Turkey, Spain, and Portugal fell. They were also invaded by Islamic forces. In Portugal, they called a mountain village Fatima in honor of Muhammad's daughter, never dreaming it would become world famous. Turkey. The Muslims were allowed to occupy Turkey in a Christian world, and the Catholics were allowed to occupy Lebanon in the Arab world. It was also agreed that the Muslims could build mosques in Catholic countries without interference as long as Roman Catholics, parentheses, Satan, could flourish in Arab countries. Cardinal B told us that both the Muslims and Roman Catholics agreed to block and destroy the efforts of their common enemy, Bible-believing Christian missionaries, in parentheses, the true Hebrews, the true children of Israel, aka the black people, the Negroes. Through those concordats, Satan engineered the spiritual destruction of the children of Ishmael. He built a solid wall of opposition against the word of God to keep it from reaching the poor Arabs. After the signing of the concordats, the Vatican, in parentheses, Satan, also engineered a campaign of hatred between the Muslim Arabs and the Jews. Before this, they all coexisted peacefully. A tight control was kept on the Muslims from the Ayatollah down through the Islamic priests, nuns, and monks. The Roman Catholics worldwide began praying for the conversion of Russia, and the Jesuits invented the novenas to Fatima, which they could perform throughout North Africa, spreading good public relations before the Islamic world. Of course, the poor Arabs thought they were honoring the daughter of Muhammad, and that's just what the Jesuits wanted them to believe. In 1917, the Virgin appeared in Fatima. The Mother of God, blasphemy, in parentheses, production was a smashing success, playing to overflow crowds. As a result, the socialists of Portugal suffered a major defeat. Out of all this, a group of followers has grown into a blue army worldwide, totaling millions of faithful Roman Catholics ready to die for their Blessed Virgin as they chant, Hail Mary, Mother of God, parentheses, blasphemy. But we haven't seen anything yet. The Jesuits have their Virgin Mary scheduled to appear 4 or 5 times in China, a number of times in Russia, and some really big appearances in the U.S. And the people are going to buy it. What has this got to do with Islam? Let's see what the late Bishop Sheen had to say about the Virgin Mary and Islam. Our Lady's appearances at Fatima marked the turning point in the history of the world's 347 million Muslims, the most difficult of all religious people to convert to Christianity, Roman Catholicism. The Muslims occupied Portugal for centuries and have left their mark. After the death of his daughter Fatima, Muhammad wrote of her that she is the most holy of all women in paradise next to Mary. The Islamic leaders were contacted. They owed a debt to the Vatican for double-crossing Rome over Jerusalem. When they had signed a concordat means like a treaty or, a contract. When they had signed a concordat, they promised to help the Pope in a time of need, even to raise an army if he so desired. Now was that time. The Jesuits had done their work. The poor Spaniards would now suffer. Through secret negotiations, a huge Arab army was raised up under the command of General Franco. The Vatican financed this war machine to teach the Spaniards a lesson. When the Inquisition accomplished its goal, Spain was in ruins, bleeding and beaten, but safely back in the hands of the Vatican. We have freed Spain from communism thanks to the Blessed Virgin. About 4 million Muslim troops occupied Spain as the protectors of the Roman Catholic faith. Islam had paid her debt to the Antichrist sitting in the Vatican, who was Satan. The Arabs, in top secret negotiations, told the Pope that they would fight for the Vatican in Spain, only if the Pope agreed to never recognize any state of Israel that might come into existence. The Pope agreed. Cardinal B told us how the Orthodox, in parentheses, impostor Jewish, and the Zionist, in parentheses, impostor Jewish, in parentheses, were both pushing for an independent state of Israel. Through this incident, Islam pulled closer to the Vatican. The Muslims were so humiliated to think that one of their own shot the one representing the prophet Jesus. Blasphemy on this earth. The Ayatollah sent condolences and apologies to the Pope. Dr. Revere, wasn't it Muslims who shot the Pope? Oh yes, the Jesuits planned that very well. A lot was to be gained by that incident. Almost 1 billion Muslims had nothing but admiration for His Holiness. In parentheses, this is in reference to the 1981 assassination attempt on Pope John Paul II, in parentheses. As I said, I believe it was well planned. Both the Pope and the Muslim world thank Virgin Mary that he didn't die. The whore of Revelation 17 will stop at nothing to gain her ends, including shooting one of her own popes. This is when Jesus Christ, the King of Kings, in parentheses, who is Yeshua HaMashiach, in parentheses, will return from heaven to destroy the Antichrist and his armies, and the Lord Jesus, in parentheses, Yeshua, in parentheses, will set up his kingdom in Jerusalem to rule the world. And so, two last things that I want to declare. Number 1, John 8:31, verse 32. Then said Yeshua to those Jews which believed on him, if ye continue in my word, then ye Then are ye my disciples indeed, and ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. Number 2, Ecclesiastes 12, verse 13. Let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear God and keep his commandments, for this is the whole duty of men. Also, let me see real quick. The Pope and that whole Catholic, the Pope is the false prophet. So when you read about who the Antichrist is, the Pope is the false prophet. It's two of them. It's the Antichrist and it's a false prophet. Well, the false prophet is the Pope. He does not have the power to say he is his holiness and he's a representative of God and he speaks for God. And I've already shared other things about the Catholicism and Catholic religion, what they believe, how they changed the day of Sabbath from Saturday to Sunday. I've already shared this on my other page called Savages Dakotas, and so I'm gonna try to get some of that and share it here as well. But also I just wanted to show this as well. Okay, so this is a Quran, right? Look, this is a Quran. See? Look, what does that say? O children of Israel, remember those blessings of mine which I graced you, and how I favored you above all other people, and remain conscious of the coming of a day when no human being shall in the least avail another, nor shall ransom be accepted. And whatever, you can read it. But the main point is, even in the Quran, it's telling you that the children of Israel is above every children of Israel, the Negroes, the natives, and the Latinos. That's the real children of Israel. Alright, so the last little piece to this is from world religions from ancient history to the present. This is page 464, Values of Pre-Islamic Arabia. The Bedouin Arabs were not notably pious, but they did have certain religious practices and ideas. In general, they might be described as animists, for they believed in a number of powers, spirits, and demons whom they perpetuated. Spirits associated with rocks, springs, and trees were of particular importance. The Bedouin were also influenced by the astral religion of the Semitic people, that's us, Negroes, natives, Latinos, which led them to recognize deities associated with the heavenly bodies. The major figures were goddesses, of whom the most important were Al-Lat, Al-Uzza, and Al-Manat. A superior deity called Allah was also familiar to them, but his function was vague and he did not figure strongly in their thinking or practice. Nonetheless, this deity was known to the Arabs, and Muhammad's proclamation of his unique sovereign power did not involve the introduction of a wholly new deity. The Arabs also made pilgrimages to shrines located in different places in the peninsula. There was a shrine to Al-Manat at Ukaz, not far to the north of Mecca, where an annual fair was held in the sacred month. By far the most important center of pilgrimage, though, was the rectangular stone building in the valley of Mecca near the well Zamzam, known as the Kaaba stone. The Kaaba stone is actually the cube of Saturn / Satan. The crazy myth that they tell is a meteor struck the earth and the Arabs seen how it shined, so they thought it was a god. CTFU. These people put a curtain around it and began to worship it as a god and called it Allah. This is why if you go over to Mecca today, even, you will see a line of prominent wealthy men on a certain corner of the stone sticking their head in what they recognize as a female part, in parentheses a vagina. They pay a high price to stick their head in the goddess's womb and kiss the stone for good luck. The Bible began to be written at least 3,000 years before the Quran. Even the New Testament predates the Quran. When my ancestors ran into Muhammad, because my people, our people, we ran into Muhammad. We knew who Muhammad was. When my ancestors ran into Muhammad, whose people were doing these practices before Islam came about, they tried to convert him out of these foolish beliefs and practices. He, like many others, took only the good parts of the Bible to unite his people. He learned about the God of Israel through his works of being a camel driver. You would pay him for trips like a cab driver today. And it's no shade, but what do a lot of them be having? Them Arabs, they be driving them taxis. That's because there ain't nothing new under the sun, man. And so he learned about the God of Israel through his work of being a camel driver. You would pay him for trips like a cab driver today. And he added all the other crap that they do today. It was all political. It had nothing to do with righteousness. And when we did not accept his religion, he waged war on our people. He got money and backing from the Catholic Church, as you just read, and as I just read to you, and the rest was history. He did everything opposite of the Bible. Instead of facing Jerusalem, he faced Mecca. Instead of praying 3 times a day, he increased it to 5. So it was like one of those things where I'm going to come out with my stuff since y'all won't listen to me, and since y'all won't follow me, I'm going to come out with my own stuff. Just like what you see doing today with these people in these churches. When people leave the church, they get all mad. I don't need about this money to this church. I'm going to go start my own church. You know, I done did all of this for this church. I'm going to go start my own stuff. I'm going to go start my own church. You know how they be talking. That's same thing here. There's nothing new under the sun. So that's basically, Muhammad, he came across my ancestors, and, we tried to teach them the proper way, but no. And a lot of what these people, these Muslims, they don't want to deal with the fact that their history, and as well as scholars, whether it's Islamic scholars, biblical scholars, historical scholars who don't believe in religion or anything, they all say that history, there was no Islam before the 7th century. So, and what they used to believe in, like I said, it was called Persian mythology. They had a god for every day of the year, so they had 364 gods that they worshipped, and they were infiltrated by the Roman Catholic Church, who got rid of all of those gods, but a lot of those gods were goddesses, and so Allah is a female deity. If you do the research, you will see that Allah is a female deity. They dropped the Allah part and kept the Allah. They wanted to be different. Like, they just like the Jewish people, the imposters, right? You could tell they different because they count everything by their mother's side. They worship, the female, the goddesses, and the females and stuff like that. Just like in Christianity, with they make you think that it's Virgin Mary, but it's not. It's actually some broad name, Semiramis or something like that. And so, yeah, man, Islam is false. Uh, but this information like what I just presented to you, knowing all of this information, like when people try to come at me and stuff like that, I give them their history. This is your history. What you mad at? What you mad for? How can you say what offends you when, first of all, you are a product of a mutation? You're not even the original skin color. You're not even the original skin color that your people once were. You can't even go out into the sun without burning. So it's like, it just baffles my mind when these people talk about what they're offended over, and it's like, well, I'm offended of you taking my people and having us as slaves, and still having us as slaves. I'm offended, with you coming and taking our way of dress, our culture, these hijabs that they wear, these head coverings and scarf, all of that comes from us. That's our culture. You read in the Bible when Abraham first met Sarah, she had a veil, like she had a veil over her face. The veils that the women wear during the weddings and stuff. That's scriptural. You can find that in the scriptures. These are our people. This is our culture. This is where we come from. Y'all take from us. And then y'all want to turn it around and make it seem like we're the bad ones, but it's actually you. We're offended by what you have done to our people, what you are doing to our people, and what you think you're going to do to our people in the future, but it's not going to happen. Our people, as for my people, I really wish that we would learn our history. I really wish that we would learn our history. And, like I said, I don't have no problems with the ballroom scene or, nothing like that. But learning our history, our culture, who we are, that is going to outweigh anything else. I don't know. But this was just, me. I had this information and I wanted to share it. So thank you for taking the time out to listen. And I hope you have a blessed day. I'm sorry. I had some more pictures that I wanted to show. I've shared these pictures before, but look. Black Iraqis, the original Arabs. Look, dark. See? This right here. This was before Alexander the Fool. Look at this man. That man is an Arab. Look, Black Iraqi. These look like some of your uncles. See? The wood. Christianity. See, that's that. See right here? This is what they be sticking their head into. They call that the female opening. The female vagina. So the proof is in the pudding. Whether you like it or not, you know, if you are Negro, Native, or Latino, we are the true children of God. We are, like, and that's why we have to learn our history. We have to learn our history, you know. That's why I'm telling you, man, I am telling you, that's why these people hate my ass, man, because they be wanting to come in like calling me names and stuff like that. Then when we argue and they start listening, and they listening to what I'm actually saying to them, I'm telling you, your religion is false. Like, there was no Islam before the 7th century. So what are you offended at? Like, what are you offended of? You're false. Your religion is false. You are false. Like, what is like, there's, you know, so we gotta learn our history, man. Like, calling these people out their names and stuff like that, that's not gonna work. Like, that's not gonna, they don't care. And it's like, that's low vibrational. You sink into their level. Tell these people the truth. If it wasn't for us, if it wasn't for you converting us and coming forcing us to be a part of your religion, then, you know, y'all wouldn't be so strong today. You are a product of the Roman Catholic Church. There was no Islam before the 7th century. And it doesn't help. I mean, I love, you know, Minister Farrakhan. I love, there's another one named Rizza Islam. You know, I love him. I love these guys. You know, I listen, you know, to what they say, you know, but also I cannot deny that Islam is not for our people. You know, it's not. And so it is what it is. You know, I have my beliefs about why you know, they continue in there, but those are just my beliefs. It's not based off of anything. And this is not to judge them or critique them, because this is not their fault. This was here long before them. Rizza Islam and Minister Farrakhan. So, and like I said, I read on one of the videos I was talking, I love Malcolm X. I love that man. Like, he was one of my people, one of my influencers. Like, when I first started researching and doing research, I would just listen to his speeches. You know, I would listen to what he would have to say. That's why I call him Uncle Mac, because, like, if he was alive, and, you know, I would say, "What's up, Uncle Mac?" You know. So I love Malcolm X. I've read, you know, a lot of books about him and stuff like that. So that's just me.